Welcome to Dinar Daily. Today, we are examining a significant report that has emerged in 2025, circulating among financial news channels focused on global currency. This report alleges the existence of a new, verified list of banking institutions, a development described as potentially pivotal for individuals and groups monitoring the Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, and Zimbabwean currency. The broadcast claims this information is not based on general speculation but is reportedly being distributed among select financial insiders and what are referred to as Tier 1 institutions. The emergence of this specific bank list is being presented as a critical signal, suggesting a shift from theoretical discussion to operational preparedness within the international banking sector, which has been closely watched by those following monetary reform narratives for several years. The central focus of this new report is a preliminary list of banks said to be authorized to handle exchange processes for the Iraqi dinar (IQD) and the Vietnamese dong (VND) for an extended period. The community observing these currencies has discussed which major United States financial institutions might be involved in any future changes. According to the information being circulated, this picture is now becoming clearer. The report specifically names several key financial giants, alleging their direct involvement in newly established protocols. This development is significant because it moves the conversation away from abstract possibilities and towards specific, named institutions, suggesting a structured framework is allegedly being put into place for handling these specific foreign currencies in a new capacity. Among the institutions reportedly involved, Chase Bank, operating under JP Morgan, is highlighted. The report claims that multiple regional memos have confirmed Chase is RV ready, a term used in the transcript to denote a state of preparedness for a revaluation. This readiness is attributed to the completion of necessary internal system updates. This suggests that the bank's digital infrastructure has supposedly been modified or upgraded to accommodate new processes or values associated with the currencies in question. The mention of regional memos implies that this information is being disseminated internally within the bank's structure, signaling a coordinated effort rather than an isolated action. Though these memos have not been made public, Wells Fargo is another major institution specified in the broadcast. According to the report, Wells Fargo has allegedly been designated as one of the primary Tier 1 redemption facilitators. This terminology suggests a central role in the potential exchange process, positioning the bank as a key hub for facilitating the conversion of these currencies. This designation, if accurate, would imply a significant logistical and financial undertaking, requiring robust systems for verification, compliance, and handling large volumes of transactions. The report portrays this as a foundational element of the new infrastructure allegedly being established, setting the stage for a coordinated rollout among major financial players. The list cited in the report extends beyond the first two. HSBC is reportedly tasked with managing international settlement pathways for both the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong, indicating a role in the global cross-border movement and reconciliation of these currencies. Bank of America is mentioned as preparing customer outreach specifically for its foreign currency clients, suggesting a proactive step toward communicating with holders of these assets. Furthermore, Truist Bank and PNC Financial are reportedly included in what is described as a secondary rollout, with their initial focus being on investor verification, a critical step in any compliant financial process involving foreign currency exchange. The broadcast attempts to lend weight to these claims by stating this is not rumor mill material. It asserts the information is structured, verifiable, and cross-referenced by at least two separate insider bulletins. These bulletins are reportedly linked to banking compliance desks located in New York and Atlanta. This detail is crucial as it attempts to anchor the speculation in the world of regulatory compliance, which governs how banks operate legally. By citing compliance desks, the report implies that these preparations are being made in accordance with official financial regulations and protocols, rather than being speculative initiatives undertaken without oversight. To further substantiate these claims, the report quotes a compliance expert identified as Dr. Marcus Ellington, who allegedly spoke with a publication called the Global Exchange Monitor. According to the transcript, Dr. Ellington stated, "This is the first observation of a coordinated interbank update that involves multiple currencies simultaneously." With a specific focus on the IQD and VND, he reportedly noted that such alignment typically precedes what is known as rate visibility testing. In simpler terms, this expert opinion is used to frame the alleged banking preparations as a potential final technical phase before any new rates might be tested or confirmed publicly. Within the banking system, the report provides historical context for the Iraqi dinar. It notes that for nearly 2 decades, the dinar has been a speculation, contingent on Iraq's full economic stabilization. Following the post-2003 sanctions, the nation faced significant monetary restrictions and inflationary challenges while working to rebuild its financial identity. This long road to recovery is presented as a backdrop to the current situation, highlighting the duration of the currency's journey. The transcript emphasizes that the path has been arduous, marked by instability and a slow process of regaining financial sovereignty in the eyes of the global community, which has made progress difficult. That narrative of recovery, according to the report, began to shift significantly between 2023 and 2025. During this period, Iraq reportedly started implementing substantial monetary reforms. These reforms were allegedly backed by policies aimed at oil stabilization and a modernization of the country's digital payment infrastructure. The report also mentioned support from international bodies such as the World Bank and the IMF, lending institutional credibility to Iraq's efforts. These modernization steps are framed as a crucial prerequisite for any potential change in the dinar's valuation, moving it from a post-conflict currency to a more stable, modern financial instrument integrated with global systems. The report cites specific economic metrics to support the narrative of Iraq's stabilization. It claims that inflation was reduced from 6% and that the country's currency reserves reached over $113 billion, described as the highest level in 20 years. This massive reserve is a key indicator of economic health and sovereign stability, demonstrating a significant improvement in the nation's financial position. Additionally, the report mentions new international contracts with major corporations like Total Energies and Qatar Gas, which are said to have boosted the inflow of foreign capital, further strengthening Iraq's economic foundation and its role in the global energy market. The broadcast does not focus exclusively on Iraq. It draws a parallel narrative for the Vietnamese dong, VND. The VND is described as having become one of Asia's most stable, low-volatility currencies. This stability is contextualized by Vietnam's consistent economic performance, with the report citing an average GDP growth of 6.4%. Furthermore, it highlights a surge in manufacturing exports, particularly following the normalization of trade relations with the United States. This robust economic performance positions Vietnam as a strong and steady economy in the Southeast Asian region, making its currency a subject of interest for international observers monitoring financial adjustments. The report culminates this contextual analysis by stating that both Iraq and Vietnam have now reached the same financial readiness zone. This is a concept that analysts, according to the transcript, have long identified as a necessary prerequisite for a currency value correction. By placing both nations in this synchronized state of readiness, the report implies that the technical and economic groundwork required for a significant monetary shift is now complete for both the dinar and the dong. This alleged parallel progress is presented as a key reason why both currencies are now reportedly part of the same interbank preparations within the global financial system. The broadcast circles back to the importance of the newly emerged bank list, differentiating it from past rumors. It claims this list represents a profound shift toward operational readiness and could signal the first verifiable institutional acknowledgement of a global currency adjustment. The compelling nature of this specific list, according to the report, is its direct connection to compliance-level procedures. This detail is emphasized to suggest that the actions being taken are not speculative but are required regulatory steps. Moving far beyond the informal chatter that has characterized this topic for years and entering the domain of operational planning. Delving deeper into the technical aspects, the report cites multiple independent financial compliance consultants. These consultants allegedly confirm that protocols are being implemented through internal testing environments. These are not public-facing systems but secure, internal banking networks. These environments reportedly connect the bank's infrastructure to real-time foreign exchange verification systems. This setup is described as being aligned with frameworks governed by both the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, and the State Bank of Vietnam, SBV, implying direct coordination with the sovereign monetary authorities of both nations to ensure data integrity and compliance. The report highlights the technology allegedly underpinning this new system. Each of the listed financial institutions has reportedly designated specific foreign currency exchange desks. These desks are said to be trained in handling IQD and VND transactions under a data architecture that validates every currency movement through a digital ledger. What is described as striking about this system is its integration with blockchain-based reporting models. This technology would allow for the reconciliation of exchange data against the sovereign central bank records in near real time, a level of synchronization and transparency that the report claims has never existed before within public-facing retail banking channels. This alleged synchronization is presented as a deliberate, institutionally sanctioned move toward transparency and traceability. These two factors, transparency and traceability, are identified as key requirements under global banking standards, such as the Basel frameworks. By linking the new infrastructure to these global banking standards, the report suggests that the participating banks are ensuring their operations are compliant with the highest level of international financial regulation. This is presented as a necessary step for legitimizing any new currency process and ensuring its stability and acceptance on the world stage. Moving it from a theoretical concept to a functional reality, another commentator, Angela Ruiz, identified as the host of Monetary Reset Weekly, is quoted to emphasize this point. Ruiz reportedly observed that for years, banks were instructed not to speak on revaluation rumors. The report claims this silence is ending, not through public announcements but through system integration. Her quoted statement is, "When compliance systems go online, it's not theory anymore. It's preparation." This commentary is used to support the central thesis of the report, that banks do not allocate significant budgets or manpower toward hypothetical initiatives. The act of investing in and building this compliance infrastructure is presented as preparation for execution. The report then transitions from system readiness to the potential financial implications being discussed by analysts. It emphasizes that the numbers tell the real story of transformation. The transcript details the current official rates and contrasts them with speculative ranges that have been discussed in various analyst reports. It notes the Central Bank of Iraq continues to maintain its official rate at approximately 1,310 IQD per USD. However, the report highlights that market analysts have long speculated about a strategic revaluation or a rate parity correction based on the country's strengthening economic fundamentals and increased foreign currency reserves, according to the broadcast. These speculative revaluation scenarios are grounded in economic potential. For the Iraqi dinar, the report mentions analyst discussions of a potential adjustment aligning it more closely with a range of 1 IQD to $1, or even as high as $4. It is important to note these figures are presented as speculative ranges discussed in reports, not as official projections. Similarly, the Vietnamese dong, which currently trades near 23,500 VND per USD, is mentioned. The report states that analyst reports have discussed speculative revaluation ranges between 47 cents and $3, citing Vietnam's export-driven growth and digital banking reforms as grounding for these discussions. The Zimbabwean dollar, or ZWL, is also mentioned, adding another layer to the discussion. The report states this currency is currently pegged within digital ecosystems rather than a conventional forex structure. It is reportedly linked to gold and lithium-backed asset programs. This positions the ZWL within the frontier of commodity-tied digital currencies. The pilot models under discussion, according to the report, suggest a potential value range between 5 cents and 23 cents, with the final value depending on reserve ratios and the export yield from Zimbabwe's mineral sectors. These figures, like the others, are presented as part of an analytical discussion. The report elaborates on what a potential revaluation would mean for Iraq domestically. It suggests such a shift would be one of the most significant economic turning points in the nation's modern history. A revaluation would immediately strengthen the country's purchasing power, allowing for the import of critical technologies, medical supplies, and construction materials at a fraction of the current costs. This monetary adjustment is also presented as a potential magnet for foreign direct investment from multinational corporations in energy, telecommunications, and infrastructure, who may have been hesitant to enter the market due to previous currency instability. At the citizen level, the report claims local populations would experience tangible benefits. A stronger dinar would translate into enhanced import capability for local businesses, allowing them to access global goods more cheaply. This could also support domestic production by reducing inflationary pressures on raw materials. The ripple effects, the report suggests, would help stabilize wages and consumer prices, creating a foundation for middle-class expansion. For households, it would mean improved savings value, greater access to credit, and renewed confidence in the nation's monetary institutions, potentially fostering job creation across various sectors for Vietnam. Its inclusion on the bank readiness list is presented as a pivotal moment for the broader Southeast Asian financial landscape. The report claims Vietnam is strategically partnering with both Western and regional Asian banks to align its domestic financial system with global digital compliance frameworks. This involves full-scale upgrades to transaction monitoring, ledger reconciliation, and foreign currency desk operations. This integration is said to signal to international investors that Vietnam is preparing for an environment of reliable and auditable digital settlements, reinforcing its reputation as a methodical, resilient, and forward-thinking economy within the global marketplace. The broadcast also details how the redemption process itself might work, based on its sources. It is expected to follow a two-phase, highly structured approach. The first phase, referred to as Tier 4B, is described as a private tier for pre-screened investors who have already verified their holdings and identity through institutional compliance. These individuals would reportedly receive direct communication via secure emails or dedicated 800-number hotlines to schedule appointments at controlled redemption centers. These centers are described as being equipped with non-disclosure agreements, advanced currency authentication scanners, and dedicated financial advisors trained to handle high-volume transactions securely. Following the private phase, a second phase known as Tier 5, or the public tier, would reportedly begin. This phase is designed to accommodate broader participation through standard bank branches, but only after the initial liquidity testing and validation of the private phase are complete. These public-facing locations are expected to mirror the operational rigor of the private tier, with scaled infrastructure for higher traffic. The report also mentions that special considerations are reportedly in place for elderly and senior investors, including accessibility features and one-on-one support to ensure clarity and transparency in all transactions. The report frames this structured rollout as a sign of institutional readiness,